I take this floor today to give a presentation. Let me tell you, of all the things in the world, of all the things that human beings can do, why yoga? Everything that human beings do is essentially of expressing who they are. Somebody can sing, somebody can dance, somebody paints a picture, and somebody writes. Everything, whatever the human beings do or say, is essentially an expression of who they are. But when it comes to yoga, it is exactly opposite to what is this. Then what is yoga? Yoga is not an expression of who you are. It is determining of who you wish to be in certain decisions. And it is already proved that the very fundamental activities of the brains, the genetical information, whatever we have, everything can be modified by practicing certain process in yoga. So, yoga, I repeat, is not an expression of who you are, but it is determining of who you wish to be. And certain amount of involvement takes you to some transformation. If you do cooking with all your heart, it may lead you to some transformed position. Taking care of a cow gives you some transformation. If you sing with all your heart, it may lead you some transformation. These days, people identify themselves as morning people, evening people, Samsung people, Apple people. So people identifying themselves with the things. And if you sit practicing yoga, then you can do or you can be however you wish to be. If you wish to be as a morning person, you can be that. If you wish to be an evening person, you can be that. And you wish you don't want to be a person at all, you can be that also. What I mean to say is that you gain such a flexibility that you can be however you wish to be. And that is only comes by practicing of yoga. Same, this flexibility you gain in every aspect of your life. It may be your physical body, it may be your psychological level, or it may be at the genetical level. You can be damn flexible and you can wish to be like however you want to be. When you define a person is a concretization of certain traits, and you keep yourself in this shell. So if you want to be in this shell, you can be only in this shell. You cannot come out of this shell. If you start practicing yoga, you can be out of the shell. In fact, breaking this shell, in fact, is yoga. Like making thinner and thinner and thinner of the shell content is the practice of yoga. You make this shell more porous in such a way that a person can transform into a presence. Presence just as life, just as God. Like you believe that God is everywhere. Once you start practicing the breaking of this shell, you just be everywhere. You become the presence of that and you won't be anymore a person. You might have practiced yoga for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. You might have seen the difference. But if you really want a difference, just stop practicing this yoga for just 3 or 4 months and you will be definitely flooded with some compulsions. You might have observed when you were in yoga, morning once you have your food, till in the evening you won't be memorized with that food which you want to have. Which means, like, once you have in the morning until evening, you don't feel like having it. The body is conscious of what you are doing. When you stop practicing this yoga, you just try to grab each and everything around you with your hands and you pick it up and you try to put it in your mouth. And ultimately, the discipline or whatever the things you got before when you're practicing yoga merely just sheds off, and you will be flooded with many of the compulsions wherein you lose the presence and you identify yourself with just a physical body. This being beyond the physical body is nothing but yoga. If you observe in the universe, everything happens in a cyclic process. Like you see the earth moving around the sun, and if you see the moon revolving around the earth, like whatever you see in the universe is a cyclic process. For the human beings also, for every living, most of the living beings on the earth is like a cyclic process. Like it is the same routine, but only for the human beings has got the utmost conscious, wherein with the practice of yoga alone, you try to break this cyclic process. You might be feeling that in the life, before doing yoga, you are going somewhere, but you don't realize that it is a cyclic process. You might be thinking that you are going forward and forward, but it is a cyclic process. As it is a circle, you come again to the same place, and you realize that you won't be going anywhere, and it is circle into the same place. Yoga is breaking this circle, what we call as a circus or whatever, breaking this circus, breaking this circle, making it a straight line, and starting at the one point, you keep going forward and you end to the another point. Breaking the cycle or breaking the circus, and you start at one end and going to the other end, which means you're going somewhere, is nothing but yoga. If you're not conscious of it, you keep making this circus. But once you're conscious of it, you will be no more in a want to be in this circus, and you wish to be something else, and you feel like something that should be achieved. When do you become this, when do you reach this conscious level? Whatever happens in this universe is about the memory. If you take the example of the human being, it is all about the memory, the genetical memory. Whatever the human beings gives birth to the next generation, the genetic code, the genetic memory, whatever it has, the mother has or the previous generations has, the same memory will be carried to the forward generation, and the picture of human being, whatever it has to be in a normal way, will be carried. If the memory is not there, we wouldn't have taken the same form like 2 legs, 2 eyes, 1 head and 1 digestive system, all these. Just because of the proper memory, we are carrying this. But at the same time, we have to be conscious of this memory. In what way? If you take the general memory of what we are now, the life what we are leading now is all about the past memory. For example, if you take, yesterday you were angry with some person, and today also the memory is still in your mind. Today also you will be angry with the same person. Tomorrow, and it leads to the entire life. It should not be so. Which means you are living in the past. You are not going forward, and you are just, the past is all the time bypassing the present, and you are still in the past. You are not living anywhere in the present, and you cannot go forward. Every day is not a fresh to you. You are not experiencing the life actually, but you are just living in the past. With the technology, if I have to make this comparison, the memory we store in a pen drive, or we store in some hard disk. What do we do? If we keeping the memory all the time in the system, what happens? And the memory of the system gets crashed and it doesn't work anymore. So what do? We keep it in a pen drive or we keep it in some hard disk, we keep it aside. Whenever we need this memory, we just plug it and then we try to work on it. When the work is done, you just keep it aside. This kind of memory you have to keep because you have to learn the lessons from your past experiences. You have learned how to invent something that should be kept in your mind so that it works for the further inventions. But every memory you try to dump here, it's going to crash you, the physical body. And for example, if I take one more, we are addicted to this technology nowadays. Like everyone has got a mobile phone. How many of you do you think that we are utilizing the complete applications in the mobile phone? And I tell you the statistical analysis, you will be surprised that only 5 or 6% of the mobile applications is being used by the people, and almost 95% of the applications whatever in the mobile are not being used. Even if you remove those applications and if you sell it at the same cost, people will not realize it. And even if you give 500 discount, they'll definitely take it happily and then go. Only when the person uses all applications in the mobile, he will come to know whether which is working, which is not working. The same gadgets are come out of our brains. And imagine to what level we are using this body. If it is like, not even 1% of our body we are utilizing in nowadays. It is like we have the memory but it is not using, and the past is always bypassing to the present. This body has got enormous energy that it can take or it can grasp the complete cosmos energy. But the thing, we are not using it. It comes to our conscious level only with the practice of yoga. Only then we can be aware of this and you transform the person into being a person, into being the presence. When you sit in yoga, when you sit for the practice, it slowly gains flexibility at your body level. And the same thing that carries to the entire life, and it carries to the physical level, psychological level and the genetic level, and your whole transformation occurs. And this is what is needed for the today's life. Thank you for giving this opportunity. And I rest my speech here. Thank you.